Howdy everybody, Andy Nolte here with another KR, another knowledge report, another review. This one is all about the Purification Rundown. The Purif. Ooh, it's actually one of the first, it's kind of, I think, the first official course that you do in Scientology, actually, because usually before that, people do like, They do like some sort of introduction to Scientology. Then their first official one, it's the first official step on the bridge, is called the Purification Rundown. And if somebody doesn't want to hear my explanation, they just want to know should I do it or not, then I recommend that you should do it. Yeah. So, and then now if you want to hear me talk for ages, have a listen. Just because I've listened to some review things before, and sometimes I just want them to tell me in 2 minutes, not like talk for 20 minutes. Anyway, so yeah, do it. It's I consider it like yoga, and I consider it like eating good food, and I consider it like trying Scientology processing. They're just good things that improve you, so you should do them, you know? And it's not like a movie where I'm going to give it 1 star or 5 stars. It's in that category of like you really should and you have to try it. It's not a matter of how good is it or not. It's like you have to do it. It's really important for your health and all that sort of stuff. So I will give the Pura 5 stars, but it's in that category of anything that's self-help, in that you almost can't even rate these things because they're just, it's not like, yeah, 5 stars. It's like, no, just, you have to do it. It's out of the category of being rated 1 to 5. Like when it comes to like ice cream or seeing some movie, you can say, that was good ice cream, I'll give it 5 stars. Good movie, I'll give it 5 stars. But then when it moves out of that category in being something that you have to do, something you really should do, it's not even should, you have to do, then it's no longer in the star rating. But I'll give it 5 stars anyway. Just so people can get an idea of it. Anyway, so the Purification Rundown, I did this like 6-7 years ago or something. And yeah, it's just good. I mean, I can just keep on talking. All right, I'll just keep on talking then. All right. So what is going on is that in this world, right, it's basically ruled by corporations, and there's a lot of successful and in power, like bad people. They're in power and they're successful and they're running these corporations. And what they've been doing is they've been promoting things that make them money, but that are really unhealthy for the average person. So what you've got is we've got terrible food, especially like in Western worlds. Like if you're living in some sort of organic farm and away from cities and stuff, you'll be actually eating good natural things. But if you're living in a typical Western world, Western country, in like a city, in the whole commercial sort of suburban sort of thing, they're ruled by corporations and stuff. So you'll be eating just crap. Like for example, I went to feed my cat some meat from Safeway. Like, just, I wasn't going to eat it for whatever reason. And the cat wouldn't even eat it because the cat could smell that it was crap. It had like chemicals and just bullshit in there. It wasn't natural. So that's just mincemeat. But let's talk about apples. Let's talk about like McDonald's burgers. Let's talk about chips. Let's talk about noodles. Let's talk about ice cream. Let's talk about bread. Like, it's so much, right? It's just all crap. It's just so crap. Like, it's crappy, shitty food, and animals like a cat will like go to sniff the meat and be like, oh, this is bad, and walk off because they're better off not eating it. And the reason why I in particular know more than anyone about how crap and how much chemicals there are in everything and all this crap is because I had some allergy problems, which was great because I got to learn what's not healthy, right? So I was working this job where I basically exposed myself to a lot of stuff that I was allergic to. I didn't know I was allergic to it, and it screwed up my immune system. So my immune system reacted. I had like allergy reactions to any sort of minor thing, right? So I could tell what was not good. And stuff like the crappy meat at Safeway, like what I was saying, I could eat that, and I could eat like, you know, crappy pizzas from like a commercial pizza place, and my feet would get itchy and hot after it. But if I ate like organic, like it wasn't an organic pizza, but if I ate like organic meat or like something like healthy and that sort of stuff after it, I wouldn't sit there with burny, itchy, hot feet. So I managed to have to like revolutionarily change my diet and weed out all this sort of crap. But the thing you have to understand about the Purification Rundown is it's a big detoxification program that's getting all these chemicals and all this crap that you're heavily exposed to. It's getting it out of your body because you've been taking it into your body on a daily basis for your whole life. And this is where it was different for people who were like, even baby boomers and people from the generation before that, in that the corporations hadn't fully taken over and the whole world hadn't fully been screwed up, and you could get some food that wasn't just utter crap. But nowadays, there's just crap everywhere, and my generation just have been born in shit commercialized food all the way through. Like, for example, my mum gave us McDonald's as a kid, right? Like, she not all the time, you know what I mean? But like, as in, that's not right, right? And when she was a kid in the 60s in Australia, there wasn't really McDonald's. So, of course, she's like, doesn't have as much chemicals anyway, but my generation just has so much chemicals. And then there's also, the teenagers in the 50s weren't doing drugs and that sort of stuff. Whereas, you know, like in the 90s and the 2000s, all that sort of stuff, you know, they're doing drugs and all this sort of stuff. So you got a person who by age 21, they've accumulated like toxins and chemicals and just crap in their body. And it's kind of like a fish, like swimming in polluted water. And then the chemicals go into the fish, and then you eat the fish, and the fish is bad for you. But what I'm saying is we're like polluted fish. We're like in an environment that just has all this crap everywhere. And we get polluted. And there's perfumes you can smell and like it's just, there's just so much chemicals and all this sort of crap. And also building sites, for example, like there's like the carpets these days, the new carpets these days actually have a smell to them, and it's some sort of chemical, and it can give me a headache if I get around it for a while. But I imagine the carpets weren't like that in the 50s, but just everything is crap. This is why in the 60s and 70s when L. Ron Hubbard saw these dramatic changes into this new, crazy, corrupt, corporation-ruled world, he was going, clean the planet! He was going, start the Sea Org! He was like, get in there, turn 40! He was going like a Nazi. He was just like trying to like go, get this thing started! Who cares if you have abortion? Just go in, we're gonna get this planet cleared, we've got to do this, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter, give up your own personal life, don't get into a relationship, just focus on saving the planet. Because it's serious what's going on. It's so serious. He knew how crazy the drug corporations, the big pharma was and all this sort of stuff. It's just so wild what's going on to this planet and how unnatural it is and how wild things were going. Look, things on Earth have always been sort of corrupted. But I don't know what happened in the 60s, but things started to go bad. And it's just like, whoa. And you can just see the result of it. It's crazy. Like, I don't know, it's just wild. So, I know I'm going off track here, but I'm just trying to say to you, I used to think I was kind of like healthy and stuff, and I wasn't. And then I did the Purification Rundown to get rid of the toxins, and I actually continued a lifestyle that was healthier, but I still didn't really realize how unhealthy the average lifestyle is, the average diet is. And then it wasn't until I hit this wall with this job I was working in, I had immune problems, and I had to go to a naturopath, and I had to go, whoa, I had to really confront, what is good health and all this sort of stuff, and I really had to straighten myself out. And what happened is, it's really interesting, when you get toxins out of your body and stuff, literally you go from having, this is what it was like for me, from having light brown hair to having blonde hair. Like, you actually change because you're such a polluted fish. You're such a polluted person that your actual skin is darker and your hair's darker, like not the way it naturally is. And like, just go into a naturopath clinic and you'll see like girls with like natural blonde hair that's like sparkling blonde and white, sparkling white skin, and it's like because they're healthy and they're getting toxins out of their body. Like, they don't have all this crap not weighed down. So the Purification Rundown is a thorough, long detox program that goes anywhere between 3 weeks to like 3 months, where you get this crap out of your body. And then after that, you really got to start cleaning up your act and keeping yourself, not putting junk into your body. And it's great. Like, it's a good course. Like, it is intense. It is hardcore. I think Scientology in general is hardcore. It's like, you know what I mean? It's not for wussies. It's not for, the Pure have hurt my feelings. It was tough for me. Like, I was on the Pure for like a long time because, what happened? Long story, right? I was on it for a while. I was on it for like almost 3 months, right? But that was because, and this is what I found out from the naturopaths, it was a long story, and this relates to Big Pharma. Like, this is just like, whoa, right? My body doesn't produce an enzyme that breaks down chemicals, right? So when I get in, and then I found out this from working this job and seeing the naturopath and everything, when I get in the environment of things that are like chemicals now, like the smelly carpets and the painted walls or whatever, and people wearing perfume even, I get headaches and shit because my body doesn't have a protein that detoxes. So I basically, I don't have the enzyme like in my DNA, in my genes, so I easily get, what's the word? I don't know. I easily get, like, my body can't flush out the toxins naturally. So not only is the average person, and because there's chemicals everywhere, unhealthy, I was particularly more weighed down by toxins because of this stupid problem with my enzymes, which I didn't even know I had at the time. And it goes deeper because you want to know why I don't produce that enzyme and why it's not in my DNA to produce that enzyme. And unless I postulate real hard, which I'm trying to do, right, why I'll never have the enzyme produced in my body in the future. Do you want to know why? Because of vaccination. These damn big farmers and their crap, and they're just trying to pump and sell you as much junk food and trying to sell you as much vaccines. It's the same thing. They're making profits from this shit, right? This is hardcore. They don't give a shit about your health. They're damaging poor kids like me with vaccines, and then you go around and you can't work as well. You get like minor headaches when you're in environments because of the perfumes and shit. I can see it in kids. I can see it when I can tell that they're a vaccine damaged kid, because I was one of them, and I can tell that it's like that kid's gone through a lot of harm. Hopefully he gets into Scientology, or hopefully he gets into like a naturopath or something, or he has good parents so that he can wake up to the reality of what's going on and get better. But anyway, I had to take medicines for ages. It took me 2 years to cure these problems. And finally, when we isolated what it was, and it was the vaccine damage and this enzyme that I don't produce and stuff, then I was able to handle like chili foods, for example, and like handle the chemicals and stuff. But I'm still not perfect. But I'm still taking the medicines and stuff. But I'm still not perfect though, which I'm kind of annoyed about. Anyway, but this is why, since getting into Scientology and all these healthy practices, right, I can produce way more, because before I was weighed down by chemicals and I was having allergic reactions. So let's say I'll come home from work and I'll be like, I've got a minor headache, I'm exhausted, I can't even stack a dishwasher, I feel terrible, right? Like, there's probably people you know who you think are lazy, but it's not that they're lazy, it's just that they're weighed down and they're victims, and they're victims of corporations, and they're just screwed up because of all this crap that's going on in the world. It's not that they're intentionally lazy. I used to be lazy, but I legitimately had no energy to stack a dishwasher. Like, it wasn't that I was rude or something for not stacking the dishwasher. I was just like come home from work, and it's just like, or come home from school, and it's just like, I'm done. Like, that's it. Like, I want to just not have to do things or whatever. Anyway, so after getting myself all cleaned up and fixed up, now I can come home from work and make videos like this, or come home from work and read things and do all these things and be productive and go boom, 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 and get all this stuff done, right? So anyway, so I guess I'm going off track. So with the Purif, you basically sit in the sauna a lot and take lots of vitamins, and you do it for like 4 hours a day, and you sweat out these toxins and this crap that's stored in your body, and you got to do it. It's great, and I'm going to handle the side of it in that there's some controversies around it, because like there are some people who have done the course when they were like old, and they actually died, right? Because it's a tough, hardcore course, and if you're like 65 years old and you have heart problems, then obviously I wouldn't recommend doing the Purif. But for whatever reason, someone stuffed up, and somehow someone did it when they were not in a condition to do it, and they're not hard enough to do it, and they're not healthy enough, and they actually died. And so it's like, whoa. But the lefties and like the really sensitive people and the Chris Sheltons are like, oh, the Purif is horrible. And also, there's not, speaking of Chris Shelton, he says that the Purif is fake science, which is just, it's just not true, right? There are people who don't like Scientology, who try and attack Scientology, and they just make up that Scientology is fake science. Like, they just make it up. So when it comes to the Purif, they ignore all the evidence that you are sweating out toxins out of your fat cells, and they just say it's fake science. And it's just ridiculous. And they can barely have a good argument. I could debunk their fake science video. Like, it's just silly. It's kind of like the people who say that vaccines don't have side effects. Like, they do the same thing. They go, oh, that's not real, that's not fake, and they just attack. And it's just like, that's probably the person attacking the people who are protesting vaccines is probably paid by the corporations and shit, because they're trying to protect their profits and all this sort of stuff. It's just how the world works. If someone's exposing something that's going to cost you money, then you obviously have to put in effort to go on the internet and make videos and put out trolls and all this sort of stuff to stop people finding out the truth. Anyway, so sorry, I know the vaccine thing's a really big issue, and if you can't believe it, then it's just like, don't even watch my videos, because my videos are exposing the truth about the world, and the truth is hardcore. The truth will set you free. The truth is wild. Why do you think when Jesus came around 2,000 years ago, they hanged him? And he said, you'll be hated by a lot of people, because he was going around exposing corruption. He was telling people the truth, and people don't like that. They don't like, if they're making billions of dollars off something, they don't like people going around exposing it. And it's so wild to think how corrupted the medical industry is. That's another thing as well. They pump heaps of drugs into people in the medical industry, and you can sweat these sorts of things out in the sauna. Obviously, from my experiences, I don't think, well, not really from my experiences, but I don't think you can sweat out vaccine damage in the sauna. I think that's something else. It needs like full-blown special handling. But anyway, but the normal psych drugs that they give out, and just a lot of the crappy drugs they give out, I think they can be sweated out in the sauna and stuff, and it's good. I did the Purif with a guy who was like a natural health food guy, and he'd been doing it for like 25 years, so he was really in good shape. And one of the reasons why I know the Purif really does get rid of toxins is because I saw how fast he did the Purif in, and he actually didn't get much out of it, to be honest. He kind of thought it was a waste of time, because he was already so detoxified, because he was just living such a healthy life. Like, he was wealthy and he bought only everything organic. And he was just sitting there in the sauna and was just like usually people sit there and they get like, you're feeling bad because some toxin's coming out or something, but he was just like, nothing's happening, give me more niacin, because niacin gets more toxins out. So he was just like, I need more niacin, I need more niacin. And then at the end he was like, okay, I'm done. And like, he was like, I didn't get so much out of that. But that's just how it is. Like, you know, so if you're a total big health freak and you've been really healthy for a long time, and you know when you're one of these people, don't expect to get a huge result out of the Purif. But other people, I think you'll get an IQ rise, like you'll be brighter, happier, you'll look better, your skin will look healthier, you'll look brighter, you'll have more energy, you'll wake up earlier in the morning. That's one reaction that I had. I noticed I could wake up earlier in the morning. I used to go to sleep and wake up and I was like 10 hours, 11 hours later, I'd be like, waking up in the morning like this. I'm not kidding. And after the Purif, I found that I could, have 7.5 hours sleep and wake up, and I'd still sort of be like, because I'm not a morning person, but I could get up after like 7.5, 8 hours. And that was a big difference. That really meant something to me because it means you can do more stuff. And it's like, why was I randomly needing like 10, 11 hours sleep and stuff? Like, this isn't natural, this stuff. I mean, when I was a 15-year-old kid, I went to the doctors and I said to them, I'm tired all the time and stuff. And they were like, their answer was, because these cheap medical doctors are basically drug dealers, right, for Big Pharma. They don't know anything about good health or anything. And so they're just like, it's just, some people need more sleep than other people. And like, that to me just wasn't a good answer. And now I know why. You know what I mean? It's not natural to need 10 hours sleep. Like, there's something wrong there. And now I know why. The whole chemical society and fucking me being unhealthy because of vaccines and like just everything. It's just like, whoa. Basically, what I'm saying is we're living in a science fiction movie, like a crazy science fiction movie. That's what I'm saying. That's the truth about life here on Earth. And it's fun now for me because I know what's going on, but for people who don't know what's going on, they're victims and they're suffering and they're walking around, with muscle twitches or like burning itchy feet from some food they ate that was like crappy chemically food, and they don't even know about it. It's crazy. It's wild. And they're not told, and they go to the medical doctors, and the medical doctors don't know. It's only like really not even all naturopaths know. I had to try different naturopaths, and I found one that was like this genius one. And speaking of that, you Scientologists will find this really interesting. This naturopath I found used this device that was kind of like an e-meter, in that like she put like a metal thing in my hand, and then she would have a computer, and so it would have some sort of current going through my hand, and she would test different things. And I thought it was really interesting because I was like, oh, this is kind of like an e-meter. And she was aware a little bit about Scientology, but she was really switched on. And she was good, and I only had to have 2 appointments with this really good switched-on doctor. One appointment, 15 minutes, she was just like, boom, 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 this is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I believe it's vaccine damage, it's hard to believe that and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, took the medicine 3 months later, and it was like, hey, what you said worked, and that's it. Like, I have to keep on taking this medicine that's like really cheap. It's not expensive like Big Pharma, really cheap. I don't even have to take it forever, just if I'm getting exposed to things in certain environments, I need to take it. And 2 appointments. Can you believe that? And super cheap medicine. It's just like, whoa. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, just go in there and try it. It's worth a try. I remember when I first did it, I was like sitting there in the sauna, like, because I was new to Scientology, everything, and I heard the bad news in the media, like, oh, it's a cult or whatever, so I was like, oh, and I was scared and stuff. But, it worked and everything and stuff, and so you just got to do it and try it, and I think, if you want to find out more information about this Purif, watch this video, just search it in YouTube. It's called Hubbard Detoxification Program. And it's about 15 minutes, and it's one that the church made in like 1994. And that gives like a good introduction to the Purification rundown. And they've probably made a new one you can search as well that the church has made. But it's a great It's a great thing. It's good to be able to get these crappy toxins out of your body and get healthy. So yeah, and also people who are like, I mean, this thing's been tested and proven that it works and stuff. And I've spoken to people who randomly take niacin, but they don't do the detox program. They just take niacin every day because they knew that it gets toxins out of their body. So they didn't know anything about Scientology, but they were like every day taking, because that's what you take in niacin in the program. It's a big thing, niacin. So this person I was speaking to was really funny. They were just like, they had a habit of like taking like 2,000 milligrams of niacin every day or something. And I was like, whoa, you know, you wouldn't need to do that if you just did the Purif once properly, and you wouldn't need to regularly take this niacin thing. But he knew, and other people know, that niacin gets rid of toxins. And there's one thing I mentioned as well. What niacin does as a reaction is skin can go like red and itchy and a bit hot. So you can be sitting in the sauna. This is where I'm saying it's a hardcore program. And you can sit there in the sauna and it's hot already, and then you got the itchy hotness, so you're like, and it's like, it's uncomfortable. But you got to do it. You just got to harden up. And I had a moment where I vomited on the Purif, and that didn't feel good. But you just have to put up with it, because like some toxin was coming out and got me sick or whatever, so I vomited. And you got to do it. And so, like, apparently people in Vietnam who were, because they sprayed Agent Orange in the 60s, this chemical and stuff in Vietnam, the government, our loving government, which is like the most corrupt thing ever. So Chris Shelton's going around making videos picking on the Church of Scientology when they're like small fries. Like, they're a little bit corrupt, but they're small fries. They barely do anything bad compared to like the American government and the shit that they've done. Like, why doesn't he have a YouTube channel that's like surviving the US government and like interviews school kids that had been like dumbed down by the education system, and like interviewed people who've been damaged in wars and stuff? Like, it's just crazy. Like, this is why he's so irrational, and these Scientology haters are so irrational. There's other shit to pick on that's way bigger and deeper. You know what I mean? Anyway, so Vietnam, because of this Agent Orange being sprayed and stuff, the local community in those areas for the past 50 years have just been polluted by these chemicals being in their environment. And the church apparently recently has been doing big detox programs, and the government helped pay for it in Vietnam. And there's literally, and I think you can watch a video of it, there's literally all these Vietnam people in those areas going in and doing these detox things to get these toxins out of their body. And that's just great. That's just great. And this is actually, this was being funded by the Vietnam government to try and help their citizens. Obviously, somehow they'd found out about the Purification rundown, so that's great news, and it's good work getting the Purif and Scientology out there as a name. And also, when 9/11 happened or something, I think a lot of the victims had chemicals in their body from something to do with the towers coming down, and Tom Cruise was helping get all these people through this Purification rundown, so that they don't have these crappy chemicals in their body anymore. Apparently, Brad Pitt has done the Purification rundown. I just thought I'd mention that. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, got to do it. I give it 5 stars. The Purification rundown, it's great. I thank LIH for making it. I'm looking forward to doing mine again in the future. I've got to find out from the naturopath if I can handle the whole chemical thing because of my DNA problem. Anyway, but yeah, like totally, it's something that I think and someone should do 2 times in their life, sort of thing. Like, I don't think you can do it just once. Like, our societies are so chemically polluted and crap that if you do one, like, kind of like 25 years later, you sort of need to do it again. And also, I'll give credit to the church, because I know I'm not a church member in that, but I did like with GAT2 how they fixed up the Purif. Like, they were giving high quality vitamins, and because the corporations have taken over the vitamin companies and they're putting out shit vitamins, I'm not kidding. This is actually true. Like, they're putting out shit vitamins, and people are running into this problem when they're doing the Pure. People were taking bad quality vitamins, and they weren't getting the benefits, and it was because of the bad quality vitamins. But you don't realize that you see a pack on the shelf that says vitamin E. That doesn't mean that that's good for you, or it's good vitamin E or anything. That can be by crappy corporations, and it could be like watered down. It can be low quality. And I actually recently was taking a vitamin E, and I spoke to my naturopath about it. It was actually worse for me to be taking this. 1 pill of vitamin E a day, and I worked out with a naturopath, it was actually worse me taking this pill because it was a shitty brand from a corporation. These are these people who hate you, all right? You should get angry about this sort of stuff. And if you're not angry about it, it's because you've been chemically poisoned and dumbed down by all their shit and you're too worn out to get angry about it. But someone who's alive, who's switched on, is passionate and doesn't want to put up with crap from these corporations and the shit that they're doing to this world. And I'm not going to put up with it. And that's why I'm making this channel. And that's why I'm promoting people like Alex Jones, who goes out there and he like you can watch a video of him where he sits and he puts all these things like Doritos chips and like cheeseburgers and crap, and he puts it on the table and he goes, this is crap, this is crap, this is crap, and he explains how they've got chemicals in them and MSG and all these crappy little things that give you like a thrill, so it sort of tastes good, but they're not nutritional and they're basically poisoning you. Anyway, so, if you're not, fighting and rebellious, it's probably because an alpha male is supposed to be like that, a natural alpha male, it's in your DNA, right? It's supposed to be like that. If you're not, it's probably because there's chemicals in the water, like fluoride. It's probably because you've been eating too much junk food and you're weighed down by all that crap. Well, I say come out of it, and I say fight and stop putting up with this shit. It's wild. You got to get involved in this game of life. It's this huge battle between the bad guys and the good guys. Join the good guys team, have fun, and start that, I guess, by doing the Purification Rundown or anything else that's good for your health. I think that's all I want to say. So, yeah, get in there and do it. 你好。